Hi, I'm Paul Gerard. This is Oral Wellness Center, and I'm the director of yoga teacher training here, and we're going to discuss student health debate. The debate is how much should we actually know about our students' health? Some people believe we should know a lot, and some people believe that we should know nothing. So let's take some things as far as knowing a lot. One, if a student has a condition such as high blood pressure or pregnancy, that's something that most teachers should want to know. In fact, all teachers should want to know that. If we look at it in a number of ways, when we accept students and they come into our studios, what happens is there's an application process. So there's some kind of a application that has contact information and basically a general profile. And if somebody's pregnant, we know that person belongs in the prenatal or postnatal yoga class. And if somebody has high blood pressure, we know we can work around that. We just know that, for example, if they have blood pressure over 140 over 90, then we need to address that in one way or another. And one is they should talk, the student should talk to their doctor and at least have a consultation. So explaining that they're going to be participating in yoga classes and that there will be some poses. The biggest concern is, for example, inversions. So, and steep inversions, like say, for example, headstands or handstands, those would be shoulder stands as well. Those would be something that we might want to modify. Maybe we'll do a different type of a posture instead of that. So those are some things that teachers want to know. And I think that's reasonable. So I'm somewhere in the middle in that I don't think that yoga teachers should be playing doctor if they don't have the credentials to be a doctor. If they're a medical doctor, that's a whole another situation. So it really does depend on what you actually know and what you actually do. So physical therapists, doctors, different sets of rules because they already are involved in medicine. So if this person is your patient as well as your student, that's a completely different situation. But generally speaking, I think it's worth saying that we should have some transparency with our students about the fact that we're trying to keep the classes safe and that we're trying to make it so that they feel better when they leave and not be injured during a class or have an incident where somebody, for example, has something serious happen in class because the teacher didn't know about their health condition. Now, there's another situation here where we're talking about overstepping our boundaries as teachers and recommendations. Most of us, if we don't have medical backgrounds, then we shouldn't be giving recommendations at all. No medical recommendations. Generally speaking, it's easy enough to refer someone to their doctor and say, that's where you're going to get your answers from on this. There's no sense in speculating on a particular back injury, what it might be. The thing is, we really want to get them so they see their doctor. And there's no way nowadays that anybody without the right tools should be making recommendations anyway, especially on something like the back, where there's x-rays and MRIs are part of it. And also knowing the, the patient directly as opposed to just generalizing about cases that say where the L5 is concerned. So there's a lot of specific information back and forth between a patient and a doctor that teachers shouldn't be involved in. At the same time, the doctor can send a note or at least give the student an idea of what they should and should not do. So that takes the heat off of teachers more than you know. The other thing is understanding that there is a duty or a law of reasonable care. And this is where you get some people who believe, well, if I don't know about it, I don't have to worry about it. And I'm talking about teachers. I'm going to say that doesn't work. It doesn't work if you're driving on the highway and the speed is 65 and you're driving 90 and you say, I didn't know. You still get a ticket, or you might lose your license depending on the state and your history. So that's where this law or duty of reasonable care comes in. And that is, if I know someone has high blood pressure, I also know that they should probably stay away from inversions, and it really would be helpful to have their doctor's recommendations. So, or some educated feedback from the student, him or herself. So there we have it in a nutshell. And we just should not be making recommendations. I don't know how many times I say that to teachers, but this is something we've got to make sure we get away from. So no recommendations to students, but be concerned, keep them out of harm's way. And that's all you can do. You just make sure they're seeing their doctor and they're getting information back to you. And you don't have to research every ailment. That's another thing to be, considering. It's helpful if you know how to work around some things. It's helpful to learn about other types of yoga that will help you out. For example, restorative or adaptive or gentle or therapeutic yoga, all of those types of yogas, they address helping people a little bit more who have specific conditions, but we're not expected to be doctors. So with that in mind, I want to wish you farewell. Namaste.